Good morning, friends. So, this week we are working on comparing and contrasting two stories, kind of like we did with the rough faced girl and Cinderella. Okay, but this week, like I said, we're going to be listening to multiple versions of Stone Soup. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to be listening to a story called Cactus Soup. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to look at the characters. How are the characters similar? How are the characters different? Okay. We also want to think about the setting of a story. So remember, when we are looking at a story, the setting is where and when a story takes place. Okay. So in our story from Monday, the setting was in a small village. Okay. So today we want to look at where is this story taking place? And then we also want to look at the events in a story. So on our story on Monday, we heard that they used the villagers and they were asking if they had food for them to add to this soup. And at first the villagers said they did not have food, and then when they thought they were going to get something out of it, the villagers decided to give the food. And so they learned that it's better to share what they have. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to listen to this story, and it's going to be similar, but there's also going to be some differences. Okay, so we are going to be listening to Cactus Soup by Eric Kimmel. All right. So here we go. Let's see.
One day, a troop of soldiers came riding toward the town of San Miguel. Not everyone was happy to see them. Soldiers are all alike, no matter whose side they fight on, the mayor grumbled. They eat like wolves. There won't be a tortilla left when they get through. What shall we do? The people asked. We'll do what we've always do, said the mayor. We'll hide our food and tell the soldiers we have nothing to give them. They'll leave when they see they aren't going to be fed. Everyone in San...
All right. So far, I have seen some similarities. Have you seen some? I've also seen some differences. Now, let's think about this. One thing that I noticed is this story is not taking place in a village. This story is taking place in the city of San Miguel. So it's a bigger city. But I also noticed that one of the events, the village or the town people are nervous about these soldiers coming. So there are soldiers coming in both stories, and the villagers are nervous about it. So they decide to hide all their food, just like they did in the other story. All right, let's see what happens next.
San Miguel went to work. They buried sacks of beans and cornmeal in their gardens and lowered baskets of tortillas and tamales in the old stone well. Some hid chickens under their beds and ducks and geese in the bathtubs. Several carried pigs up to the rooftops, while their neighbors herded cows and sheep into the cellars. The children hung strings of chili peppers high in the trees where no one would see them. Once that was done, the townspeople put on torn, dirty clothes, smeared mud on their faces, and tried to look their best like poor, hungry people. The soldiers came riding into town on prancing horses. They wore wide sombreros with leather bandoleras slung across their chests. The captain saluted the mayor and townspeople. Señor Alcalde, mi compañeros and I have been riding all day. We are tired and hungry. Can you spare some beans and tortillas? We would be so grateful. The mayor frowned. I am sorry, Señor Capitan. As you can see, our town is very poor. Other soldiers came by the other day. They ate the few beans and tortillas we had. Now we have nothing. There isn't even enough for the little ones. The parents nudged their children, who began crying bitterly, just as they had practiced. What a pity, the captain said. Did you hear that, amigos? There's nothing to eat in this town. It looks like we're going to have to make cactus soup. Oh no, the soldiers cried. Not cactus soup again. Stop complaining, the captain said. Cactus soup is better than no soup at all. The children stopped crying. Everyone in the plaza leaned forward to listen as the mayor asked, "What is cactus soup?" "You'll see," said the captain. "I'll make enough for my soldiers and everyone in town. However, I'm going to need help. Can you bring me a kettle of water, a stirring spoon, plenty of firewood, and one cactus thorn? We have lots of people to feed, so bring the biggest thorn you can find." The mayor ordered everyone to help. A kettle of water was soon boiling in the plaza. Cactus grew everywhere in town. The children had no trouble finding a huge thorn as long and as sharp as a needle. This thorn.
All right. Now, what are we noticing? Are you noticing some similarities? All right. So let's think about it. We've talked about the setting and how that's different, but now we're talking about the events, right? The townspeople lied and said they did not have any food and didn't have anything to share with them. So the soldiers decided to make cactus soup. Whereas in our other story, the soldier made stone soup. This story, they're making cactus soup. But I have a feeling it's going to be similar because if we listen to it, they ask for a kettle, which is a similar word for a pot. As for a stirring spoon, firewood. But instead of a stone, they're using that cactus needle. All right, let's see what else we can see that's similar and different.
"We'll make plenty of soup," the captain exclaimed. He dropped it into the kettle and began stirring. "How can anyone make soup from a cactus thorn?" asked the priest. "Watch carefully. Perhaps we'll learn something," whispered the mayor. The people of San Miguel looked on as the captain stirred and stirred and stirred. He lifted the spoon, blew on it, let it cool, had a taste. "Not bad," he declared, as he continued stirring. "I always find that a pinch or two of salt improves the flavor. But never mind. I know how poor you are. Why ask for what you don't have?" "We have salt," said the man. "We're not as poor as that." "And pepper, too," the town clerk added. "Does cactus soup taste good with chiles?" "Cactus soup is outstanding with chiles," the soldier exclaimed. People tripped over themselves, running home to fetch salt. The children climbed trees to bring down strings of chile peppers. The captain stirred the salt and the chiles into the soup. He took another taste. "It's getting better," he declared. "Too bad you don't have onions. Cactus soup always tastes better with onions. But why ask for what you don't have?"
All right. So I'm hearing that. Well, I'm hearing something repeated every time. But why ask for something you don't have? That sounds like what we heard in the other story as well. Do you see? They're kind of using that trickery to get the townspeople to bring out their food because I think they probably already know that they have food. They're just trying to trick them. All right. So let's keep watching.
"I know where I can find some onions," said the priest. "What about garlic?" asked the sacristan. "Garlic makes excellent soup," the captain answered. The priest and the sacristan ran to the church. They came back a few minutes later with a sack of onions and several heads of garlic. The captain chopped up the vegetables and dropped them into the kettle. "Smell that soup!" he exclaimed as he continued stirring. The people of San Miguel sniffed the air. "Soup that smells this good must taste wonderful," cried the members of the town council. "If only we had some beans and carrots and tomatoes, and perhaps even a fat stewing hen. Then our soup would really have flavor," said the captain. "But it's fine the way it is. Why ask for what you don't have?" The townspeople winked at each other. "Come with us," they told the soldiers. They returned in a few minutes, carrying sacks of beans, bunches of carrots, baskets of tomatoes, and several fat stewing hens. The hens were old, said the mayor. They wouldn't have lived much longer. The tomatoes were spoiled, said the barber. The beans were rotten, said the schoolteacher. The carrots were moldy, said the shoemaker. Never mind, said the captain, as he stirred and stirred the ingredients into the thick, rich soup. That's the best part of cactus soup. Whatever you add makes it taste good. I think it's ready now. Who wants to try some? Me! Everyone lined up in the plaza, bowls in hand. The captain ladled out the soup. This is the best soup I ever ate, said the mayor. I never tasted anything like it, said his wife. And to think it was made from a cactus thorn, exclaimed the priest. Not bad, said the captain. However, I think cactus soup always tastes better when you have something to go with it. Such as? All the people asked. Tortillas, tamales, sweet potatoes, a roasting pig, cried the soldiers. That would make for a real fiesta, the captain said. And some music, too, for dancing later on. However, I know how poor you are. Why ask for what you don't have? Wait here, the mayor told the soldiers. He whispered orders to everyone in town. They all ran home and came back carrying tortillas, tamales, chorizo, camotes, and several fat roasting pigs. What a feast they had! As the night wore on, soldiers and townspeople ate until they couldn't hold another bite. Then they brought out accordions and guitars for singing and dancing. The fiesta lasted until dawn. Nobody in town could remember anything like it.
All right, so this is another event in our story that is similar, right? After they finished eating, they had a big party to celebrate, right? So in both of our stories, they ended up celebrating together with a big party. Let's see what happens at the end.
The soldiers rode away in the morning. The people of San Miguel gathered in the plaza to wave goodbye. What will we do if more soldiers come? They asked the mayor, when the last soldier disappeared from sight. Let them come. The more, the better, the mayor replied. Feeding soldiers is no trouble. We can feed a whole army and have a fiesta every night as long as we remember how to make cactus soup. The story of stones.
All right. So we saw lots of similarities and lots of differences, right? So we saw that the settings were different, right? This one took place in San Jose, or in San Miguel, whereas the other one took place in a small village. We saw that this had soldiers and the other story had soldiers, so that is similar, okay? In this story, they made cactus soup. In the other story, they made stone soup. But the process was the same. They took something and then they tricked the townspeople into giving them the other things to make the soup. And then in both stories, by the end of the story, they had made friends with the town people and they had a party. So that is what we do when we compare and contrast stories. We are going to continue doing this for the whole month of December. So you guys did a great job.